Whoa. Why y'all so happy?
You don't know? Sharvette Mitchell is on the radio.
It's time to get motivated, excited, and influenced. Why? It's the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, live from Richmond, Virginia. And now, here to motivate, excite, and influence you, Sharvette Mitchell.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, broadcasting from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia. But guess what? Heard all across the world wide web. Hey, guys, how y'all doing? Hey, dolls. Hey, gents. Hey, girl. Hey. Listen, we are excited to have you joining us for another phenomenal show. You know I always bring you great guests that have you sitting on the edge of your seat, and listen, today is no different at all. So let me tell you who we have hanging out with us today. So the first guest is hanging out in the virtual green room. I know she's enjoying some virtual snacks while she's there. But we have Shirelle Diamond Hogans joining us. Listen, she's backed by popular demand. She is a compassionate nurse. She's been in nursing for 16 years. She is a maternal health educator at the Wilmington site. Dappy, she is a domestic violence advocate. She is a sexual violence advocate. She's a suicide and violence education teacher for the Criminal Justice Council in Newcastle, Delaware. She's an international empowerment speaker. She's a minister. She's a publisher. She's an author. But you know what? If we boil that all down, she really just wants to instill hope in our hurting community. So I'm really excited to have her joining us here. Certainly October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, certainly along with Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we're excited to talk to Shirelle, we call her Diamond, on this segment. And then listen, I don't want you to move, because in our second segment, we're excited to chat with Carla Jenkins. Yes, she's going to join us. Did you know that October is Positive Attitude Month? See, we bring y'all up. We upgrade y'all. We give y'all some good stuff y'all don't even know about. But yeah, October is Positive Attitude Month, and Carla is joining us. She's a phenomenal expert specializing in positive change management. And you know what she says, that people always consider change as a negative, and she wants you to think about it really in a positive way. Carla Jenkins has her BA in International Economics from Harem College and her MBA from Cleveland State University. So you want to keep it locked right here. So this is what I want you to do. Jump on Twitter, jump on Facebook, jump on, if you're on Periscope, jump on there. Tell them what you're listening to right now. Send them on over and tell them to listen and check out the show. All right, so we're going into our first segment, because I know my guest, she is chomping ready to share with you all the things, that her background, her experiences, how she's helping the community, and all that good stuff. So we are bringing up to the mic right now, Shirelle Diamond Hogans. Hey there.
Hey, Matt. I ate all your snacks. I ate all the snacks up in this virtual snack room. Listen, the green room, I ain't called it the snack room. I ain't took my finger and took the so I ain't going to say all that because people want me to be churchy. Hi, Sharvette Mitchell. How are you?
Listen, this is reality radio. So you can. I tweeted, you better take your seatbelts off. Or did I say put your seatbelts on? No, I tweeted put your seatbelts on, because Shirelle Diamond Hogans is in
I
the
don't act
studio.
up like that, do I? Oh, my gosh.
It's okay.
You know what?
Listen, it's okay. I mean, for all of the things that you are doing. Yes, it's good, because all of the things you're doing and all of the serious topics really that you deal with, you got to have this level of energy. Like, how do you keep this level of energy up?
I ain't got no man, girl. Like, people want, I don't have a church answer. I don't have a man, so too. Since it's nationwide, right? It's around the world.
Yes.
Shirelle Diamond Hogans is single. Listen. People are like, what is wrong? What does she not do? Listen, I don't sleep and I don't have a man, so God keeps me busy because he knows. Lord have mercy, he knows I need to stay near the cross. So all y'all church folks, calm down. I got my prayer cloth. I got my oil sitting here. Don't let me have to take a picture and tweet it, but I'm good. Yeah. But honestly, you know, this is my season, and I had to accept that. As much as I fought it, oh my God, me and Jesus was like, he was like, sit down. My angel's like, can I pick somebody else? I'm like, Jesus, like, for real. He like, I need you to work. I got you. So I had to accept and not fight my single state of serving the kingdom like never before. So I said, because I'm a passionate person, everything I do is passionate, and you want to know I was a part of it or I was there, and we're going to laugh along the way. But I'm like, ain't no use to me sitting here arguing, fussing, fighting with God who already created my life and already knows the end from the beginning. Let me just relax myself and work. So I get on everybody's nerves because I give everybody homework to do, and you do this and you do that, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And they're like, I'm going to find you a man so you can leave me alone. So,
listen, that's a word right there. That's a word. Work while it's day. Work while it's day. Night coming.
And if I'm in my single state, I'm trying to get everything out. Because when I get into my married state, I know I'm going to have some work to do, but I know it ain't going to be all this. So I'm just really excited. Because God got another ministry for me, right? So when I'm single, listen, I'm doing everything. And I love it. It's a passion that keeps me up at night. It's a passion that wakes me up and I dream and dreams when I do sleep. My 2-3 hours, if I even blink or stir, God is talking to me like right in my ear, like Whoopi Goldberg and Ghost. He's like blah 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 blah, blah because he can trust me with it. And I absolutely love it. And I was listening to you talk about my bio.
Your bio?
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I got to cut this thing down and make it short. But it's like, it's crazy because it's much longer than that. However, it's like it hits the hot spots real quick about, kind of in the essence of who I am. But when I was listening to it, I praise God after every time you said one thing, because I don't just do this because I want to help other people. I do this because I've survived all of that. I've been, teen pregnant, so God has me full circle. My whole life is full circle. I had 5 teen pregnancies between the ages of 17 and 23, and then I had domestic violence when I was starting at the age of 17. Sexual abuse started at the age of 7 or 9. So suicidal thoughts and let me tell y'all some suicidal thoughts and even trying to act on them from a teenage age, but even when I was grown. And then let me tell you how even in church, even ministering, even in the pulpit. So suicide and violence has, it does not just, hit people outside the church. It don't just hit the congregation. Like, if you don't get your mind right, stayed on God, and know God for yourself, not just recite the word, know the passage, but I'm talking about know the word in your heart, and you live that thing, the enemy will take you out in your mind. And especially when you single, God gives you all of these gifts. I was like, God, what you using me like my sexual abuse person used me? My victim, my abuser used me, because I always felt like I was a servant. So even me and God had that talk, because I took real talk to him, because that's how I feel. He knows it whether I say it or not. But I'm like, you using me for a service to serve this person, talk to this person, do that, go do this, serve. What about me and my needs? What about me? And he had to really get with me and deal with me. And he's not like other people, but he was loving me through it. He was loving me through all of that. Yeah. So even in the pulpit, as you pour out to the preacher, you see that all over the world. Preachers doing their best sermon, going home and committing suicide in the parking lot because they ain't got nobody to talk to, or they don't deal with the things, and people don't allow them to deal with their mindsets, what's in them, and what's going on the inside of them, their personal things. They'll give their best sermon and then go home and kill themselves in a parking lot in front of their kids because they're dealing with so much. And the enemy will get you in your mind and isolate. But that's suicide and violence. We talking today about domestic violence.
Yes. Listen, we can hit all of it. So whichever way we need to go, because maybe somebody needs to hear it. So I'm not cutting you off on any of it.
But it all ties together because of who I was, or who I thought I was. Let me put it that way. Who I thought I was when I was first being sexually abused, and then when I got into domestic violence relationships, unhealthy relationships that had domestic violence issues in it, intimate partner violence, which is called IPV. So I told all my secrets to the wrong man, or the wrong male, thinking he was going to love me and I can trust him, and then he used my secrets against me. I tell this all the time. He'll throw it up like, who else going to want you? Like, you know, I'm the best you can get. And at the time, I thought it was, because who else was going to love me? Who else was going to, you know, be with me after I've told them or they knew all the stuff that I've been through? So I stayed in those relationships, pregnant, getting choked out, had made me be standing in the corner of my own apartment. And then it ended with one guy who actually he cut my face in 2 places. I was set up by my sister and my best friend. And here this man who I have just lost 2 kids by, having miscarriages, here he is. And he cut my face because he think I'm with somebody else because 2 other people who I love and trust lied on me because of jealousy.
Wow.
But I put all that on me thinking this is all different people. No, like it got to be me. It can't be them. It can't be something wrong with them. So I internalized all of that. Never knowing who I was, never really loving me. And I'm wanting everybody else to love me, but I didn't even love myself. And this was before I got saved. I didn't even like God because of, you know, saints, pick your face up. But y'all ain't always like God, love God, close your mouth.
Right.
I ain't like God. Because of different things I've been through, I'm like, who is this God? And I'm getting raped and molested in my own home. Who's this God that I have 5 miscarriages and people throwing their babies away in a trash can? So the suicide opened up the sexual abuse opened the door for unhealthy relationships, for the domestic violence, and then that opened up the door for suicide and violence, suicidal thoughts, for me to take my own life, but I wasn't strong enough for me to take pills or kill myself like that. I kept getting in more unhealthy relationships trying to have them kill me. That's what I did, and that's what a lot of women do. They don't see it as that, but they have one unhealthy relationship after another, And for me and myself, because everyone's story is different with domestic violence, and I hear some of these gruesome stories, and my heart goes out because mine wasn't as gruesome as that, but it was as painful and as it still was domestic violence.
Right.
It's like some of them use their one of them put his hands on me, choked me up on the refrigerator. It was the first time that ever happened while I was pregnant. So I was pregnant with his child. And then the next person, I got out of the relationship after I went back, and I got a new boyfriend. And then he turns around and he uses his stature to walk towards me and have me stand in a corner, intimidate me, to make me stand in a corner to listen to him in my own apartment. And back and forth with the police, putting them out, and I'm waving the lease in the police face like, hey, he don't even have his name on the lease. He can't be here. So the cops said, you know what, you call us again, both of y'all going to jail. Because how many times they going to come back? How many times are they going to keep coming back? And I was under 21 at the time. I think it was like 18, 19. And I had my own apartment. Wow. I'm trying to get my strength back. And then he finally leaves me because I never left the man. Jesus, no, I never left. They left me. No matter what they did to me, I always found a reason, because my reasoning for me was that I ain't perfect. I got issues. His issues ain't my issues. His issues weren't my issues, and I'm not perfect, so I need to work with him because he's working with me. I felt like trash. Nobody wanted me. I was abandoned. You know, I was raped when I was 17, and I finally told my mom because I didn't tell her about the molestations of my family. I'm talking about supposedly stepbrothers. I'm talking about cousins, and I'm talking about older cousins that we call uncle. Like, it's people in my family who violated me when I was younger, and I didn't know if I told my mother if she would trust me or not. Will she believe me? Will she believe them? So I never said anything. But when this man who brutally raped me, who I thought was my uncle, I thought he was my dad's brother. And I only went to him because I wanted him to tell me about my father, and I figured if I told my father, he would help me in my life and, be that protector in my life so these other men can stop touching me like I had something on my forehead. And, I was trying to get to know him, but he had his own agenda. He was like, you sure got some 40 sitting on your chest. And after I started hearing that, it was just like, you too? Like, you too? And he stopped telling me stories about my dad as leverage for me to stay around. And my mom used to make us keep going over there. And then until finally he just brutally raped me, and then he dropped me off on the corner like I was trash. And I finally told my mother that what had happened, and she did not believe me. So everything in my mind
No, I just want to get here because I know people have just tuned in and they're like, who is this talking? Listen, you're listening to Shirelle, Diamond, Hogans here on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, just sharing her past and why she's so passionate and an advocate in these areas of domestic violence, sexual violence, suicide and violence, education, prevention, all of that. So I just want to let the listeners know, listen, I don't want to cut you off because, I mean, for you, you know, they say, and as we say in church, you don't look like what you've been through. So certainly
honey, I'm beautiful. I'm the epitome of beauty for ashes, honey, because I show my picture of me in high school all the time, and somebody needed to give me a hug, a straightening comb, or something, because that was a mess. But the more I've been through, now I see the beauty in me, and it's something I've never seen before. When you've been put down and felt like you've been thrown away, tossed aside, even by your own family, and for me, let me tell you, that was my story. I never asked my mom. My mom tried to come back to me like maybe a year or two later and said, hey, remember when but I was shut down. I ain't have nothing to say to her. You know, I'm her firstborn, and after everything, I finally told her, and for me, she abandoned me. And what I found out was this man was not even my dad's brother. My mom was trying to get with him, and I didn't understand that. What happened was my grandmother, my father's mother, had a boyfriend who had a son, and she moved him into the house. So he grew up with my father, and all I knew was he was my dad's brother. Come to find out, this same man raped my aunt and had a baby by her. So we call them the molesters of, we just call them, it just ran in the family. It just really ran in the family, of that side of the family. And then I didn't find out till my older years that my cousins told me, like, let me tell you about the family. This is what happens when family don't talk. When families are separated and you got brothers and fake uncles and fake cousins in the home and everything, you let predators in your home around your children, and they look for broken women. So I know I've been through domestic violence and everything. I want to just teach the people now, watch who you have in your house and question, why are you here? Whether in these days, whether you got a young son or a young daughter, you need to watch who you have around your children. Even their father, even their mother, because people are doing some demonic things to babies.
My God.
They groom them. They look for people, first of all, for the adult that's broken and needy and thirsty, wanting attention, don't know who they are, always needing validation. And I get inboxes all the time, hey, beautiful. I say, I am pretty. My name is Shirelle Diamond Hogans. You don't know me like that to come at me like that. People try to see where you are. Because I'm a little thick, you think you need to tell. I know I'm pretty. I know I'm beautiful, not having a big head. But you don't validate me, and I'm over the grooming stage. It's called the grooming stage, where they look for broken people to get next to their kids or get next to their kids. And then they see these kids that don't have a father, so they try to tell them, hey, you're pretty. Hey, let me give you some money. Oh, you need some sneakers. And that's what they do. They get them dependent on them, and then they start saying little things that may not sound so good. And then it all of a sudden becomes a touch that you know don't really feel right. But if you say something, then that person's not going to be there for you to buy you candy because mommy ain't doing it, to make sure you look good because you want to go to school and look like the bum at school, that you want to be in the in crowd so you don't have what everyone else has. So they groom you to depend on them, and then they require something later on. And it becomes a what did I do type thing. So I tell everybody, watch who you have in your house, even if it's family, and have that conversation with your children where you create you can't wait for your kids to come talk to you. You need to go talk to your kids. You need to say, hey, I want to talk to you. Can we have some time together? Stop watching all these reality shows and Love and Hip Hop and doing the nay-nay all the time. No, somebody else doing something up to them, and it ain't the nay-nay. They need to sit down and have family meetings and say, hey, I heard about something in the community or on the news, and I just wanted to see if you knew about it. Have these real-life conversations. You never know what your child is going through. And if it's not your child, it may be one of their friends. You never know what's going on. So have these conversations and let them tell you stuff without you reprimanding them for maybe a bad decision. They need to feel safe. And what I see when I talk to the children, starting with fifth graders, my suicide and violence education class used to just be middle school, but what we learned was stuff is happening in elementary school that we think these kids are too innocent for, but you give them iPhones and access to the internet, that stuff that you ain't even supposed to be watching. They got iPhone. I don't have an iPhone. You heard my bio. I got like 50 million jobs. I do not have an iPhone, and I'm single. These fifth graders are on their life is on fleek. They ain't got to worry about nothing for the rest of their life. But they have access to stuff, and even if you block it, their friends have access to it. They go to the libraries and to these after-school programs, and their parents don't pick them up till like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and even then they go to like basketball practice, or they go to like a football drill. So you let your child go to school 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. After school, they go to an after-school program. After the after-school program, they go to a sports program. When do you spend time with your child? And what do you think your child is being exposed to? I work at the PAL, the Police Athletic League. You know how many times we got to go make sure ain't nobody doing nothing in the bathroom, doing nothing in the hallways, doing something in the library next to us, because they're unsupervised.
Wow.
That's where predators prey, where they know that you're not watching your child, somebody else is. And they are exposed to other children who have been exposed to other things. So you don't have the most influence on your child. And it happens in church. Like, nowhere is safe. You need to make sure that you have a connection with your child, and you need to make sure that they can tell you anything. There's a safe word. There's something that they can tell. There's something they can tell you about anything. And then allow them to also identify people at their school and at their community center, at their church that they can talk to. Because it can't always be you, because you're a parent sometimes. That's how they see you. And if they talk to you about sex, then they have to imagine you having sex. So we do the I am 40 assets. Please Google that. The letter I, the letter M, the number 40, and assets. And it's a checklist of asking your child, how do you feel? Do you feel like somebody empowers you? Do you feel like somebody respects you? Do you feel like somebody supports you? Do you have support at school? Do you have support at church? Do you have support in the community? Because if these kids cannot identify people in the community, adults that they go to, they're going to go to other kids, or they're going to go to somebody who's grooming them. We have to be alert and be intentional, purposeful about being in our children's lives.
My goodness, let me ask this: so all of those things transpired in your life. What was the turning point? How did you get up and over this? What happened?
Oh, my God. So it's not the church story like everybody want to say. I figured out, because the guy that cut my face, I went to the police came, and they told me that if I didn't come testify, that they were going to lock me up too, because I was obstructing justice. And they told me this while I still had the bandages on my face and blood on my floor that I had to clean up. So I went over to the police station, to the courthouse on the day they told me, and I said with a straight face that it was my fault. I hit his elbow, and his elbow came down with a knife in it. He's a chef. He was cooking. It ain't like he went and got the knife. I made all types of excuses for him. They for me, they weren't there when I had my miscarriages. He was my life. The police were doing their job, but they didn't know the fullness of him, and I made excuses for him. Even I still, for years after that, I didn't think it was my fault. I didn't think it was his fault, because I went and moved his elbow because the knife was too close to my face. But then one day I'm like, girl, he has a knife at your face. Like, get over it, And it was, and we're talking real, right?
Yes, real
We're
talk.
talking real, Sharvette. Okay, so I wasn't saved then. So sex was a big part of my life. And when they get you in your emotions and physically, people are like, what, you stupid? I'm a straight A student. I tested into Calc 2 coming out of high school. I was always ahead of the seniors or the upperclassmen before me. Like, I went to school at Penn State, and the Calc 2 teacher had the thing wrong. I was very smart, but I was broken.
Right.
I was broken. So being smart came easy. Having someone love me, that was the work. And then I sat there, and I went to court, and they had me testify, and then they pulled this big old mirror out, and they told me, testify again. Say what you said again, but this time take your bandages off. So they sitting there trying to embarrass me, and I'm sitting there looking at him, And he told me already when I went to go see him in jail that, you know, it's us. He didn't mean it. We're going to try to make another baby. We're going to be family. I was engaged at the time. Like, there was no counselor for me. Y'all just want me to put the man who I said I loved at the time, my child's father, you know, my last 2 miscarriages with him, you mean put him in jail? He the only one that loved me. Y'all, they didn't even give me a counselor. So let me hurry up because I know you got another section. But he, so I said what I had to say. They still made a sentence for him. I took my rent money and I went and bailed him out. I'm 21 at the time. Went and bailed him out of jail with my rent money. He came home. And then we were all good until he had to go back to court the night before. You know, he had everything set up, and I went to work. I came home that day, and everything was set up. He never came home. He skipped bail. They had the bail bondsman go to my mama's house, everybody's house that I had on the bail. They came to my job. They embarrassed me like crazy. And come to find out he was playing me the whole time, and he had some other girl pregnant, but I was so broken. It was like I was so broken, crying like I really wanted to die. Like I kept saying and I didn't know this then, but catch this. I kept saying if I die when I in my next life, I can be somebody else. And I didn't realize that's like salvation. Like when you die and get born again, there's a new life for you. Now, I know that may be a little bit too deep, but years later, that's what it came to me. Like, it's kind of the same thing. I kept saying, when I die, I'm coming back like her. When I die, my next life's going to be like that. When I die, it's going to be that way. So I realized I didn't love myself. I went through this whole thing of depression, and I wanted everybody to love me, my mom to love me. I wanted the people who molested me to love me and not hurt me. I wanted my fake uncle to love me and not have hurted me like that. And then I wanted these men who I trusted in and gave my body to over and over again, because sex was used against me when I was younger. So when I got in my teenage years, I vowed nobody would ever take anything from me again. So I became the more dominant person. Nobody was going to take sex from me, but sex was equated to love for me at that time. I'm still broken. That's my mindset. If I love you, then this is what we do. That was the way we expressed love. That's the way we made up. And make-up sex got me right back. And it was a vicious cycle. It was a vicious cycle until he actually, until he left me, again, somebody else leaving me, even after I forgive them for everything they did to me. I felt like I wasn't good enough for somebody to stay.
Wow.
So I finally started trying to love myself more. And then I came into one of my girlfriends. We were on a trip, and then she was like, won't you come to church with me? And at the time, I didn't want to go to church. I heard so much about God and had people in my family who, serve God. But when I said I wanted to kill myself, they gave me a Bible. When I told them I was depressed after I had the miscarriages, nobody really took the time to really invest in me and tell me about this God other than the Bible, which was a King James version, and I ain't know nothing what was going on in there. I'm trying to figure out what's going on in my head. And it took me a while, but then I went to church one day, and it was just a whole nother experience. And I really felt like God for myself, that somebody cared. And I just took baby steps. And then he started telling me to write, to use journaling. I used to do spoken words. I used to write, and he was like, write to get it out so it won't be bouncing off of your mind, the walls of your mind, and you keep reliving stuff. So my writing was therapeutic. And so I would write, and then I was talking to some girls at work, and they were saying something about relationships. And I thought, I just wrote something about it, and I read, and we was all sitting around, and I was telling them what, and it ended up being therapeutic to them. So I became an author at that time. It was supposed to be like a little journal or a pamphlet, and it turned into my first book called Girlfriend, Let's Talk About It. And I've been writing ever since.
How can listeners get a hold of your books and find out all the other books that you've written?
Well, right now we are revamping all of our stuff so that it is up to my standard. But everything can be found at Shirelle DiamondHogans.com. So ShirelleDiamondHogans.com.
Wonderful. Okay, so listeners, you've got that there. And also, if you're hanging out on Sharvette.com, I have the link there on my blog post about Shirelle, which has her full bio. As you can hear, oh, my goodness, such a background, but it's so transparent and so willing to share, and that's the power that's really in her testimony and really in her life. Shirelle, I know you have an event coming up. I want to make sure the listeners know about the event that you are planning.
Which one? That you know I know.
Okay, the one with the toiletries, where you are gathering the toiletries for women in transition.
Okay, so we have two events for that. The first one, which we're we're actually delivering everything on October 10th. My girlfriend, Carolyn Washington in Maryland. I almost forgot her name. I'm so hyped. Carolyn Washington in Maryland. She is Sisters for Sisters, Inc., Sisters, number 4, Sisters, Inc. She is the visionary she's a visionary for Handbags of Hope across America, where every state, every city that wanted to participate is gathering at least 25 bags filled with toiletries and inspirational letters to be donated to a domestic violence shelter. So it is amazing how many people are ambassadors for Handbags of Hope across America. And then what we do is on October 10th, everybody goes and delivers all of their handbags, their handbags and stuff to the domestic violence shelter directors. And Delaware has 3 counties, and we decided to do one each county, and then that just blew up. So I believe we're servicing at least 5 different shelters of women who have been through domestic violence, and just to provide them with hope, to let them know, sister, we ain't forget about you, that we love you, you're not by yourself. And it's a small token, because when women leave, when they leave out of domestic violence relations, sometimes they don't leave with anything, or they leave with their bare minimum in a trash bag just to save their life. So we want to give them their dignity. We want to let them know, need some designer bags. So I tell people, don't even see it, because I don't want the spirit of anything to come on me. So keep all the bags over there, put everything in there, and I can't wait. And then on November 7th, we have our annual pamper party. So everybody feeds people or clothes people for the homeless people for the holidays, for Thanksgiving. It's like they do this big drive, and they got to feed everybody. So what I wanted to do was feed their soul. So I call it, I wanted to feed their soul, feed their spirit. So it's our annual pamper party. It's now called Queens Arise. I'm so excited. So excited. So they come. This is the best ever. So they come, get their hair done for free, nails done for free, facials by Mary Kay done for free. They get massages. We got award-winning band, Best Kept Soul. We got Shay and the line dancers, SS&C, and they SSNS, and they do line dancing. We got a spoken word artist coming. It's all free. Like, I want them to have, like, the king invited them to the castle, because people who are in transition may think that God forgot about them, and they feel like they're tucked away. But I tell them that you are displaced, but you're never discarded. He loves you, and he sent angels to come and remind you of his love. And some people need that, to be reminded that God loves them, and I haven't forgotten about you. You're just in transition from where you were to where I have already destined you to be. And we opened that up from just the women in transition, because we invite them to come. And then now the community comes, because they were coming. I'm like, wait a minute, y'all got cars and Bentleys and all this other stuff getting the free services. But what happened was, because I have a homeless testimony also, I'm preaching with Dr. Tracy Lynn on the same stage. I'm traveling the world preaching, and I found myself in a homeless state. And it wasn't a financial thing. It had to be a life thing, because that's another testimony of me taking care of my nephew, but for 16 years. But happy birthday, Trey. His birthday's coming up on the 20th. Okay, and then so I invited the community, because I know what it's like to have things but have no hope. To lose out and think that God's forgotten about you. And you already paid for this stuff, so it's not like you're going to walk around and look like you homeless. You just don't have anything right now. So I invited the community. Nobody knows who's who. But I wanted women in transition. You're going through something from one place to another place, and you just need a little hug. You need a little help. You just need somebody to say that they care and they acknowledge you. So this is a big party of hope. We hug everybody. We have a blast, honey. We have a blast. It is the best ever, and all the services are free. And then for the community that comes, all they have to do is pay $10 or bring the toiletries, and everything goes to Child Inc., which is one of the pioneers for domestic violence shelters in the state of Delaware. We absolutely love them, so they'll be on site. And it will just be amazing for women to give back to other women and just for women to embrace other women. I talk a lot, but that's it. And the last thing I wanted to say, Shar, was you said I don't look like what I've been through. I don't. And I want people, you don't have to just survive. And I do domestic violence, sexual abuse. I do all that. But imagine all that coupled together. The enemy tried to take me out multiple ways, but there was an anointing on my life he was after, because I'm like Paul. I didn't like God. I hated God. But let me tell you, I'm one of his best servant. And I claim that because I know where he's brought me out of personally. Multiple graves had my name on it. The enemy always, even while I'm preaching, tries to run a little bit before me and draw a chalk outline and say, here, lie down, die here now. But through the grace of God, I'm still here. So there's a section after, there's a place after just surviving it. I'm not in that place anymore. But you can thrive in life. You can thrive in life, and you can love again. There's peace and joy and happiness. Oh, my God. I'm having the best time. Still single. I'm trying to tell you, I'll come back to that. So, y'all, if y'all want to pray tonight, make sure y'all pray and tell Jesus, let my diamond go. But I love me some God, and I know that my man of God that's coming got to be prepared, because I'm that chick. I'm going to push you, and you better be wanting to do some Jesus work, too, because I can't be sitting home with you watching Law and Order all day. We got work to do. So I'm grateful that God is preparing my man of God to be able to. Why are you laughing? We can't. We got to get up and go do some work. But I'm just so grateful. Not all day. Like one day, but send some emails out. Have some other people doing something. But I need to work. I love God, and I love God's people. And I love when people get that aha moment, like, you know what? I was about to kill myself. I was literally going to leave here. But because of you showing me that I'm loved, I'm willing to stay in a fight. We got to show up. The saints got to show up. We got to show up. So I'm done. I talk a lot. ShirelleDiamondHogans.com.
Yes, ShirelleDiamondHogans.com. Again, if you're hanging out on Sharvette.com, the blog post there, her website link is right at the bottom, so you don't have to stress at all. Tell them how they can connect with you on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff.
You know what? So, okay, this gets a little tricky. Okay, so on Facebook, I know I need to be better at this, but I swear it seems like I got 18 hands. I really only have 2. So on Facebook, it's Shirelle Diamond Hogans. On Twitter, it is Kingdom Diamond. I was into my churchy name by then, so Kingdom Diamond. On Instagram, it's Radical Diamond with a K. So R-A-D as in dog, I-K as in king. And that's it. Radical is Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Yeah, that's it. I said, I'm sorry, we're recording.
You can hear the radicalness. So certainly that's a good fit there. Listeners, I don't want you to move because we're getting ready for our second segment. Carla Jenkins is hanging out in the virtual studio. I'm going to be bringing her up to the mic. We're going to be talking about positive change management. Oh, my goodness. So don't move. And Shirelle, I know you had a free giveaway for listeners.
Yes. So we have our iMatter. iMatter is one of the companies, because I didn't think I mattered to anybody. So my purpose in life is to let everybody that comes across my path know that they matter to me, to God, but they matter. So we have a company called iMatter. So there's T-shirts called iMatter, and this year we were saying we're bold, fierce, and unstoppable. So it says I matter, and then it has in small words, it says bold, fierce, and unstoppable. Anytime you need to know, and it speaks to people. People's like, I matter. Yeah, I do matter. I'm bold. I am fierce, and I am unstoppable. You can't let nothing stop you at all. No obstacle. You want to go through it, over it, under it. I'm done, Sharvette. I'm done.
Listen, we could just have to bring you back. We just got to bring you back. But we had to get in the drawing for the T-shirt, and it's just about size XL to 1X. You have to contact me, inbox me, send me an email, go to Sharvette.com. The drawing will stay open until Sunday at 5 p.m. to be fair to all of our broadcast stations. So if you want to win this T-shirt, I Matter T-shirt, inbox me, Sharvette, tweet me, DM me, send me an email. Go to Sharvette.com to get entered, and we will do the drawing on social media on Sunday at 5 p.m. Shirelle, thank you so much for stopping by. We love you here at the Sharvette Mental Radio Show.
I love y'all, too. Y'all need some more snacks back here, because I'm telling you, ain't no more snacks in this virtual green room.
You ate up the snacks from Carla.
Okay. Thanks for having me, Vet.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. All right, listeners, we're moving right on in to our next segment. I'm bringing my guest up to the mic. She's hanging out in the virtual green room, although Shirelle ate up all her snacks, virtual snacks. We're excited to feature Carla Jenkins. Oh, my goodness, she's a phenomenal expert specializing in positive change management. Did you know that October is Positive Attitude Month? Oh, my goodness, you're going to get to hear all about it. I definitely want to mention that Carla has her BA in International Economics and her MBA from Cleveland State University, and we are bringing her up to the mic right now to chat with us on the Sharvette Mental Radio Show. Hello, Carla. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Sharvette.
Oh, so glad to have you. I'm telling you, I did not know before your interview, scheduling your interview, that October, amongst other things, is Positive Attitude Month. Tell us about that.
Well, it's about displaying positive attitude, especially since this is the first month of the fourth quarter, and you're trying to realize your year-end goals and make sure you meet the deadline to have a prosperous 2016, a prosperous new year. It's just essential to think positive, especially since the weather's getting colder, people won't be outside as much, but just to close out this year with a positive attitude and execute all your goals. So it's a perfect month to display positive attitude, not just October, but also beyond October.
Wow. And you say that people often consider change as a negative, but no one talks about positive change and, how we learn how to manage, through change. So talk a little bit about the perspective of change being positive versus negative.
Well, for most of my work life, change has been a positive. For instance, I was receiving promotions, I was being accepted into leadership development programs, and when I was reading change articles, even on positivity sites, they always took it from a negative approach. But my site, Positivity Change, is all about managing positive change effectively and what actually happens when it does work out, like how to plan for that. We always plan for the worst, but what happens when it becomes better? No one really gives us the skills and equips us with the tools to maximize what happens when it actually does work out.
Well, you know what? That makes me think of people on either reality shows or game shows that, make it a certain, it could be a singing show like The Voice, and they make it a certain amount further maybe than they thought, and then it's like, oh my goodness, this was a good change, but I'm not prepared for this. That's what that just made me think of.
Well, yes, that's positive change. The people with the lottery who get the money, but then they go broke within a year, they don't know how to manage positive change, and that's why I created the site to give people tips on how to manage positive change effectively so that they can create and keep the momentum going and experience more positive change.
Wonderful. And so you yourself have experienced a lot of great positive change. You possess 10 years experience in corporate America, LinkedIn, Pulse contributor. You're a certified project management professional, PMP in the house, and you just had promotions on top of promotions. What were some of the things that helped you through these positive changes in your life?
What's helped me is to go a level deeper than just what was on the surface, look at my performance, how I could incrementally improve every single day, and that's how I was getting more promotions. But also what I did was I developed a plan. It's not just thinking, it's also doing. And what I did even at a very young age was I would set aside like 25% of my non-rent paycheck towards savings. So if a training came up or something came up that I knew would improve my personal or professional performance, I was able to enroll in the class, and I actually self-financed my own PMP learning and exams.
Wow, which is not cheap. If your employer doesn't pay for it. If your employer doesn't pay for it, it certainly is not cheap. Okay, so that's good advice there. And so for people that are struggling with change, do you give them tips? Are there guidelines? Are there like tools that can help them kind of through positive change?
Yes. One of the tips I would say is write down what you actually fear. Actually, people fear the unknown, so even though it's uncomfortable for them, change is uncomfortable, they will stay where they're at because it's the devil that they do know versus the devil that they don't. So the first thing I would do is just write down what you really fear. Because when I passed my first certification exam, I had to say to myself before I walked in there, I was okay with the reality that if I did get the certification, that I would get a promotion, and it may not be at my current employer. And 8 months to the day I passed the exam, I actually received a promotion, and I was at another organization. But you have to be open to it.
So affirmations, that was even like an affirmation to say you were open and that you were open to however the positive change would come.
Yes.
Because some people would say, well, I want to stay at this employer and I've got this amount of time but being open to that this may take you in another direction that you didn't intend.
Yes, and it was actually very positive because it was another government agency, and actually when the 2013 government furlough happened, I was actually an essential employee, so I was working, but had I not been open to the change, I would have been furloughed. So, the unknown may be good things because I was still working, still getting paychecks. I didn't get, I was still getting income, still getting everything accumulated. So it was good. But change is hard and it's fearful because you don't know what it may look like.
And you have to be open to it. You have to be open to it. Tell them one more time your website or your blog that they can connect with.
Sure. My site is entitled Positivity Change. It's spelled POSITIVITY change CHANGE.com.
Great. And I love one of your recent blog posts where you talked about the 3 C's to improve your personal career brand. 3 C's to improve your personal career brand. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. The 3 C's are entitled clarity, consistency, and constancy. First, you have to be clear about what you want to accomplish, how you want people to convey your brand, and then you have to consistently do it offline when you do networks or meetups, and online with social media and LinkedIn, and then also with constancy, you have to just keep doing it every single day. You just can't let up. And also I gave a couple examples of clarity, consistency, and constancy using a human resource example. For clarity, if you were in HR, you don't want people coming to you in sales and marketing. From a consistency perspective, for HR, if you've been promoted, you have to detail that on LinkedIn. There's been times where, and I have some friends who are recruiters, who they would try to recruit from old LinkedIn pages, and they didn't know that the person was in a new position or the person left the organization. So it's just essential that you are consistent in what you put up with social media online as well as offline. And then constancy, just work on your brand every single day and make sure that you're highly visible both offline and online.
And you know why this blog post jumped out at me? Because most times when people think of brand or branding, they're thinking, okay, I have my own company, I have my own products, I am self-employed, or I have a side business, and they only think about brand in that arena. But in actuality, anyone who has a career path, anyone that is working for someone else, you still have a brand.
Yes. It's very important. Your brand, like every time you interview, every time you go, you attend a meeting, your brand precedes you. So if you want good things to happen, you have to start cultivating your brand. Branding isn't just for companies, it's also for individuals too.
All right. I like that. And so where do you see your blog and your company going? What kind of long-term goals do you all have?
Well, I want to expand, and I'm currently in the development of an ebook and possibly a webinar, seminar regarding positivity change. I also want to expand out into guest blogging and feature other blogs. I just want to use positivity change as a conduit for people to have the information to aid them in the decision-making process so that they don't have to be fearful and don't think that the resources are out there to make an informed decision.
All right, and you are very active on social media, so I got to give you a shout out right now. You are a faithful listener to our show, and you tweet us, so thank you. Let me openly say thank you for just being, in the audience and listening in and participating on a lot of our shows. Thank you so much.
No problem, Sharvette. You have very interesting guests, and I learned a lot about stuff. And also, since you're speaking of social media, people should follow you on Periscope because you give a lot of professional tips out on there, too. So follow her on Periscope at Sharvette.
Thank you. And you know what? I think that is a great case study for us to talk about positive change because it's a new social media site. It's video, so number one, it's new. It's a good thing because there's a ton of people on there, and you can learn a lot, and you can also share a lot. But people have that fear of I don't want to get in front of do a video. I don't have makeup. I don't have hair. I don't know. Is this a fad? Do I want to spend time trying to connect with people? Isn't that like an example of like, no, this is a good thing. It's not going anywhere. It's got like 10 million users, and they just started in March. I think this is a great example of positivity in a change situation.
Yes, Periscope is very good. As soon as I saw it, my MBA antenna popped up because this was a game changer, especially for small business. If you are sole proprietor, it's like cutting out the middleman. If you want to do a live demonstration or you want to do a commercial, you can do that, and then you can sign up for Catch, and they can archive it. It was just a big game changer. It allowed a platform for small business owners to do the same things that these multinationals are doing, to have the same amount of reach, to have the same amount of video content without paying for it. So Periscope was a very big game changer, and it's more of a game changer now that it has partnered with Apple TV.
Yes, and for those that are saying, what y'all talking about? Periscope, and it's a new social media app. Basically, you download it on your phone, Android or iPhone, and it is live video stream. You simply click a button that says broadcast, and whatever you are seeing, the camera facing out, or the camera can be turned around and on your face. That's what people see from all over the world, and they can also chat with you and ask questions, and you can ask them questions, a two-way communication. So that's a Periscope. So, okay, great. I wanted your opinion. I know that you do a lot of listening on Periscope, and so have you specifically heard any good Periscope people that we should follow that either deal with change management or dealing with positive change, or just people in general that you follow that you find are good?
Yes, I would recommend two. The first one is Jay Stone. She is phenomenal. Yeah. You can find her as Jay Stone. It's Jai Stone, Stone. The other one, her name is Adrienne Graham, but she goes by the name of Talent Diva, so TalentDiva. And she's good because she is about helping small businesses grow and achieve scalability. So like I was talking about how Periscope was a game changer for small business, I feel if you were to follow her, she would impart a lot of knowledge about how small businesses could scale up and grow and exceed beyond just a solo entrepreneur.
All right, so there you go, listeners. Some extra tips there. So the goal of my show is to motivate, excite, and influence, and we want to know what continues to motivate you.
The fact that every day is a new opportunity and I can consistently and constantly improve myself, and that's why I do what I do. That's why I started Positivity Change, because I love communicating and I love sharing positive information to impact people's lives.
All right. I love it. PositivityChange.com. Again, if you're hanging out on Sharvette.com, I've got a great blog post with Carla's bio and links to her Twitter, her Instagram, her LinkedIn, her website. All of that is very conveniently there for you on Sharvette.com. If you're hanging out there, we made it really simple for you. So for October, you can remember, along with certainly domestic violence awareness and breast cancer awareness, that the month is also recognized as Positive Attitude Month. And you know what, Carla? I have definitely heard those in the medical profession say people that are facing cancer, ones that have a positive attitude, have a positive outlook, or have a better survival rate. I have definitely heard that statistic before. So I think this is a great combination. They kind of go together nicely.
It does. Because, I have, positivities come from my own life and my own disability. I have epilepsy, but if I was negative, then I would have more seizures. So, positivity change is ingrained within me, and it really helped my life a whole lot. So, yes, the medical professionals are right. The more positive you are, the better life you have, the longer you live, too.
Wow, and I'm telling you what, no one would be none the wiser. I mean, a BA in international economics,
yes,
your MBA, your project management professional certifications. I'm telling you what, that is blessed, and so you kind of snatch any excuses away from people, really, with just that quick, testimony that you just shared. International economics. How did you get into that?
Well, I got into that because when I was in high school, I was taking honors Spanish and honors English, and so what happened was I took an econ class and I really liked it, but I wanted to do more just beyond the American economy, so they were taking international classes, so I just took them and I became very interested in it. And actually that degree helped me with my first job as an economist when I relocated to Washington, D.C.
Wow, and so that sounds like really smart. Like I think people would listen and say, economist, international. She must be a genius. But thank you for representing number one, the African Americans well, representing women well in the area, and certainly in the government sector. So thank you for being a great example there. As my first guest as well, Shirelle Diamond Hogans, you all are both awesome examples, and I think our young people need to see examples so that they can then strive and say, okay, that's what I can look like and be like in the future.
Well, thank you, Sharvette, for affording me the opportunity to speak and be on your show.
You are quite welcome. One more time, give them your blog address and also how they can follow you on Twitter and on Periscope.
Sure. My blog is entitled Positivity Change. It's spelled POSITIVITY, change, CHANGE.com, all one word. You can follow me on Twitter at Carla R. Jenkins. You can also follow me on Instagram at Carla R. Jenkins. And Positivity Change now has a Facebook page. It's entitled Positivity Change Now. And finally, you can follow me on LinkedIn, which is Carla R. Jenkins, and Periscope at Miss Phenom.
All right. I love it. Any shout-outs you want to give?
Well, I would like to shout out my cousin Maurice, who said he was going to be listening to me, Adrian, Talent Diva, who said he was going to be listening to me, and everyone else who helped me assemble PositivityChange.com.
All right, we shout you out. Shout out. All right, thank you, Carla, for stopping by the show.
Thank you, Sharvette.
All right, you are quite welcome. All right, listeners, guess what? That is going to wrap up another edition of the show. I want to remind you, we do have a giveaway this show. You want to snag an I Matter T-shirt that was offered so graciously in our first segment by Shirelle, Diamond, Hogans. So this is what you need to do to get into the drawing. Size about XL to XL to large XL, right in there. If you can fit that, listen, we got you. Just for one, we got you for one. And so reach out to me, inbox me on Facebook, DM me on Twitter, send me an email. You can go to the contact page on Sharvette.com. Any kind of way to contact me and say, hey, put me in the drawing. We're going to do the drawing on Sunday. To be fair to all of our broadcast stations, to make sure everyone gets an opportunity to get in on the drawing. And again, if you want to know more about I Matter, you can go to SharelleDiamondHogans.com. And again, Sharvette.com has the contact information for all of our guests. If you missed any portion or if you think someone needs to listen to this, somebody needs to hear this, just send them over to Sharvette.com. Hey, I know you're following me on Twitter, twitter.com/Sharvette. Let's connect on Instagram, Instagram.com/SharvetteM. Certainly Periscope is Sharvette, and on Facebook it's Sharvette. I think I have 8 spots left for friends, so if you don't get on my friend list, just click on the follow button. You will see all of the information for the show. Just click on the follow button. That's all you got to do, and I make sure you know everything that's going on. I make a lot of posts public anyway, so listen, you'll be good to go. I promise you. All right, that's going to be a wrap. We're going to chat with you all next week when we bring you other phenomenal shows.
Live from Richmond, Virginia, you have been listening to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Connect with her at Sharvette.com. And until next week, stay motivated, excited, and influenced. The Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Signing off.